Today on the podcast, we are diving into one of our favorite tools and a major upgrade that's happened over the last little bit. Like this happened a minute ago, but Connor and I were both talking about how much we use this, and that is Midjourney and specifically their new browser. So if you're not using this, this is one of the AI tools that I highly recommend subscribing to. It's hard to understate or overstate how important this AI tool is, because I think so often we all have ChatGPT, and so we're just like, oh, like I don't want to pay for another one or use another platform or figure something else out because like I can get images generated in ChatGPT, and sure they're not like the best, but like it works. No, guys, I am telling you right now, you need to be using Midjourney if you do any image generation. ChatGPT, I think, is like half as good, like a solid half as good. Nothing looks ultra realistic. Nothing can look like a generated image. Midjourney is incredible. So we're going to be going over sharing our screen so you can see everything that Connor has generated on Midjourney, which I personally am so excited to see. And we'll be talking about some of our prompting strategies, some of the things that we love about this. This is a very practical episode where we're showing, I think, one of the best AI tools out there, really.
And we wanted to talk about this because it's not one, usually we're talking about like, oh guys, here's this new update and you want the news. But listen, this is AI applied. I cannot tell you, I totally agree with Jaeden. I've been on Midjourney since kind of the beginning, or not the beginning of Midjourney, but like since, early last year. And the quality is so much better. They keep getting better and better. But here is the big thing. Like my huge bend is always toward things that are easier to use. Because if they're not easy to use, you're not going to use them. I don't care how sort of like amazing the new llama model is or whatever. If it's not easy to use, you're not going to use it. So Midjourney finally has gotten out of Discord. So the way it used to be, and you guys maybe have sort of known this, like you had to go onto Discord, like this whole server thing, and then you had to create a server. And then even when you do it, you're like, wait, how do I do this? And like, it's like / create, imagine, blah, blah, blah. And then it has all these things underneath, which is like all these different buttons, and to use a different image, you had to call it. It was just so hard to use. And I have so many friends who are huge in AI that literally don't use Midjourney, literally not. And I'm always like shocked because it is one of the very few tools that I use. I don't use a lot of tools, guys. I use ChatGPT, I use Claude, I use Perplexity, I use Canva, which I kind of consider slightly AI. And I use this. I don't use otherwise people are talking about like, Replit and things like that. But with this, it's amazing. So here's the thing. Go to midjourney.com, sign up. I'm not saying to spend more money on it or anything like that. I don't know how you can use it for free or anything like that. Just check it out. But honestly, if you're on LinkedIn or anything like that, like the last few LinkedIn things I've done have often like included a Midjourney thing. And instead of being like, dash, this kind of camera angle, dash, you just say what you want. It's amazing. And it's so quick and super easy to use. I love it.
Yeah, no, this is an amazing tool. I'll share my screen for anyone that is watching this on YouTube or Spotify, but otherwise I'll explain for most of our audience. I think it's on Apple Podcast. But yeah, overall, an amazing tool. So there's a couple new things that you probably don't know exist yet, or maybe you're unaware of, that I have been just really blown away by some of the stuff they've done. So over on Midjourney, in the actual prompt, I recently ran one. The prompt was speaker, business attire, flash, AED on wall, event. Then I said Conor Grennan. I was really hoping it would generate Conor Grennan. Sadly, it did not.
Generic Irishman.
Yeah, generic Irishman. Okay, so here's what's cool though. I generated an image of a guy, and they have the option to regenerate an image that you like, and you can do very subtle or very strong. So you could make a very subtle difference to this photo. If you're like, I just want it to be slightly different, it can do that. And so I think I did the strong one variation, and it generated like a bunch of different variations of the same image, which I think that's a very useful tool. Now, I then did something that's pretty interesting, which you can click on the editor, and I highlighted the entire head. So the person's head, I essentially just cut it out, and then you can change your prompt, and it's changing the prompt specifically in this section. You click submit. So what I added to this, it was just a picture of a dude with, brown, black hair. And I just said, make him blonde with curly hair. So as soon as I did that, you can see all of a sudden the image regenerated with this, like a different head on the guy, change the color of his hair and the texture of his hair. So you can imagine all sorts of things that you can use this for, that I think is really, this went from just kind of like pulling the lever on a lottery, on like a slot machine or something, and hoping you win with your image and it looks good, to like now you can generate an image and all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, I wanted the guy to have a parrot on his shoulder. You highlight his shoulder, you say add a parrot. You say, I wanted him to be at the beach, and you highlight the background and you say make it at the beach. Like there's so many things that you can now do that make this beyond just like an image generator. It's really an image editor. Like you can, I feel like it's also like kind of feels like more artistic. Like you can really, really personalize this thing to whatever you want. So that's
Yeah.
one feature that I'm super excited about.
I love that. And the other thing, Jaeden, is you're sort of, because I love that you're showing, because it's so easy to use right now. By the way, Jaeden is like now editing this, if you guys happen to be watching this. But the really cool thing, guys, is that it's, first of all, the best image generator out there. But like when, Adobe and Firefly, when these things started to come out with some of these tools, it's like, oh, that's great. But I'm like, but I'm not really using Adobe. Do you know what I mean? Like, and now it's built into this thing that I'm already using, which is absolutely phenomenal. And so one of the things is that like now it's just like easy buttons to read, all that kind of stuff. If you tried Midjourney once, you didn't use it again, just try it. Because let's see so Jaeden is now creating this thing to sort of see if he can put the fake Conor somewhere else. And while he's doing that, let me just say, this isn't just about, is this a great tool? Is this not a great tool? Of course, it's a great tool. It's way better than ChatGPT. So if you're using the ChatGPT DALL-E in the image generator and you're using that in your PowerPoint presentations, stop. If you are making a PowerPoint presentation for somebody, guys, your time is worth this. Okay, you are worth this. Do not just put junky things in there and be like, oh, look, I have the guy with 5 fingers who's raising his hand in a classroom. No, go to Midjourney. You are worth it. Take that time. And I'm not the guy that says, just practice. No, here's what you do. Go to midjourney.com. If you have to sign up for a month, try it out. And literally, there's a box that says create, test to see how good it is. And I want to give a couple of tips. Tip number 1 is you can always, this is the biggest tip. Everything else kind of falls under this one. People who are really good at Midjourney always tell me this. The key to being really good at Midjourney is just keep on iterating. I'll see people like my buddy Robert Haslam, who works with me over at AI Mindset, and it's this phenomenal graphic design. He's an AI genius, but he's also this phenomenal artist, right? And he cruises the most amazing things. And what he does, I've asked him his secret. He's like, look how many I did. He did like 40 of them. So don't think just because your first one didn't come out, it's not worth it. Iterate, just keep practicing. And the second thing I want to say is that LinkedIn rewards you if you write text and then put in your own image, text in your own video. It doesn't reward you as much as if you have a link going to the outside. Use Midjourney to emphasize what you are saying on LinkedIn, and I promise you, your reception, your likes, all that kind of stuff will go up because LinkedIn will share it further.
Yep, 100%. One last thing I wanted to mention that I do think is a very cool feature of the new Midjourney platform is the Explore tab, where you can see other people's generations, what they've used. And specifically what's really cool is you can see the prompts that they use. So you can copy their exact prompt, throw it in, alter it slightly. One use case that I recently was consulting a company on was using tools like Midjourney, but essentially to do interior design. So it's a construction company, and they're looking for tools that can essentially help them. They go and take a scan of a client's room, and they want to really quickly generate like a really nice design that person is able to use, right? Or like a remodel for like a kitchen or a bathroom or something like that. These are tools that like real businesses are using every single day. And it's just so impressive, the quality of what is able to be put out. But in any case, I think a really good hack when you're kind of getting started or when you're trying to perfect and get better at your prompts and what you're actually able to generate is to go to the Explore page, click on images, look at the different prompts that people are using to generate stuff. You can sort on their Explore page. They have, like what the top things are this day, what are getting the most likes, random things. I'm sure you have to be like careful to some degree of all the random images on the entire internet being generated, but really, really impressive with really impressed with a lot of the stuff that is generated. And then just as we were talking now, generated a modern living room, and super, super impressed. This might be the next design of my next living room design now that I got to pull off here. So in any case, really great tool. Loving everything that Midjourney is putting out.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal, guys. Thank you so much for listening. By the way, I just want to put this out there because, first of all, Jaeden has another podcast called AI Hustle, which is a must listen to besides all his other podcasts. But guys, if you are listening to this ever and you're like, "Gosh, I'd like to start a podcast. I don't know how to do that," Jaeden has a podcast course, and it's not just about here's what you do here. Jaeden is a mad scientist when it comes to growth. There is a reason why his podcast, he has like 4 million downloads. He has showed me some of these secrets. I am telling you, I swear to you, it is worth it. It like stuff that he does, I don't even understand how he ever came up with it, but I've used all of it to grow myself. Like on my YouTube, I've used it to grow my YouTube channel like crazy. It's nuts. So go over to Jaden's thing. Jaeden, what's the URL for your course?
Appreciate the plug. Podcaststudio.com/courses. I'll leave a link in the description. Yeah, it'll definitely
It's
start a
I promise,
podcast.
guys, check it out. It's worth it if you have any interest in starting a podcast or just growing. He's a growth master. Check it out. I promise this is a public service announcement, and we will see you next time.